Have a good trip.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Lunchtime Special Podcast, a show about life, death, and everything in between. We hope you enjoy the show.
But whatever the reason you're on Mars is, I'm glad you're there, and I wish I was with you.
Hello, fellow lunches. Welcome to another episode of our Lunchtime Special Podcast. Today, we'll be doing a bit of space exploration. Let me introduce you to the crew. I'm your captain for the day, Saranga. Got Ian.
Aye, Captain. This is Ian.
And then we got Brad.
Hello.
Got Andre.
Chief Navigator Andre reporting for duty, Captain.
And then finally, we got Spiro.
G'day, Captain.
Great. So let's start this session off, first of all, by discussing. So there is currently a space war happening. There's 3 in this race at the moment. First to get to the Mars and also Moon as well, right? For that matter. So we got, first of all, Elon Musk with his SpaceX. Then we got Richard Branson with his Virgin Galactica. Then we got Mr. Jeff Bezos with his one as well. So out of the 3, I want to ask first from Ian, who do you think is going to win the race and why do you think he's going to win the race?
To be honest, I don't think any of them will win the race. I think it's actually already been done. And the US government or whichever government has done some sort of conspiracy to hide it from all of us. To find out more conspiracies that we've spoken about, listen to our other podcast on conspiracies.
That's good. Spirit?
Well, riffing on what Ian says, I think potentially we are already multi-planetary. However, publicly we are not. And everything that we're seeing via SpaceX, Virgin Galactic, or Jeff Bezos, whatever it's called, project, they are the public, commercial, accessible versions of what's maybe already happening. So the race may have already happened and could be Roswell tech. It could be something that happened a long, long time ago or something that we've already developed. Apparently, a few trillion US dollars have been sucked away from US taxpayers and been going to black funds funding basically a little underground clandestine space project. And this was kind of released recently saying, oh, yeah, we've been doing this on the side anyway. So it's already been happening. What we're seeing now with SpaceX is just a face that we'll idolize like Elon Musk or Branson, and everyone's going, yeah, I want to be a part of that. So this is the marketing side. So the race is probably already happening.
Yeah, in terms of the marketing side, so I'm going to ask you, Brad, if you were given the option, if you were given the ticket to go into one of the spaceships and to go do a bit of traveling, would you take that opportunity or
Nope.
the reason behind that?
I mean, no, that's it. Just
Yeah.
no. I mean, realistically, you think about once you get there, you've gone all the way there, and then what do? Like you're sitting there with no one else around. Like there's no. I mean, it's a change of lifestyle completely, and right now I'm happy with my lifestyle, so I just don't want to change.
Nice.
Brad, haven't you seen Total Recall? Arnold Schwarzenegger has a great time in Mars.
Yeah, exactly. This is the whole philosophy behind Elon Musk trying to sort of go to Mars and set up a habitat in Mars. And this is where I find it very fascinating because there's a whole race towards doing the space exploration and going towards different sort of planets and setting up space civilizations down there. Whereas you got a beautiful planet right here in Earth where they should be more invested in trying to do more and more in Earth itself rather than spending that much money and doing this sort of travel just for the pure elites.
So it's actually interesting that this comes up today because there was an article released 2 days ago on Business Insider about former astronaut Chris Hadfield. He basically said we could have gone to Mars decades ago. The technology that they use to go to the moon is going to be pretty much the same technology that they can use to go to Mars. It's just that getting people home is the hard part. So getting to Mars is no problem. We could have done that in the 1970s. Getting someone back from Mars is pretty much impossible, and that's the real challenge. So I'm sure that you guys have heard about the Mars One. It's a lot of them were saying things like, "Well, there's nothing left for me on Earth. Like, I feel like I've got no future here, so I want to start a new life on Mars." Or complete other direction where there were some people who were leaving their families behind, like, and they just were like, oh, whatever, my family is over here. I'm going to go have an adventure on Mars. But like the reality is both of those scenarios are quite depressing in a way.
What I hear from that is like there's an underlying factor that they got this past life, the past memory, whatever it is, that they just don't want it to be associated with planet Earth, right? For that matter, they just don't want it to be in this, and they just want to space out and go beyond.
So there's two parts to this. Like from a billionaire's perspective, it's all about ego. I want to be the first person to get someone to Mars. Whereas for other people, it's just Earth is not the place for them anymore.
Yeah, is that the whole attitude towards changing the external environment, where it's something that is within that is causing this turmoil, right? You want an outlet, for example, the way I see it, like take the computer and the internet in general as well. I was sharing this with you guys before. It's the fact that where it is an outlet to get away from the normal life. That's how it started. The internet completely started but now it's so engrossed that you're on the grid, you cannot get out of the grid. And the whole notion that there is an option to get out of the trap and go out in space and make sure you can set up a brand new life is an idea that is appealing to a lot of these, especially the futuristic billionaires who wants to invest in that area.
Potentially what we're facing are two ideas. You can have the people who want to escape a ruined planet, and they will be economic/environmental refugees. Basically, Earth as a whole can't stay here anymore. We have to move. You'll always have the true explorers who literally say, I will sacrifice my family in the sense that I will not see them again, but I'm being called to sail the seas. I'm going to be called to go to another land. I'm being called to go into space. One of them is that the thing that makes humans so amazing is that we're curious and we want to explore and we really enjoy just discovering. There's adventure. There's something that, and it's fulfilling too. Because if you even just taking that step to go, look, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. That gets people motivated, and there's something electric about that. It's when it's the other side where, wow, we have bombed out. We have really ruined this world so much, and we can't fix it anymore. Our billionaires can't fix it. They cause the problem. The industry has created all these problems, and they have no solution other than jump ship, find some other place, bring the rats along, and let's ruin that one, and then move, jumping to another one, because we literally can't get ourselves together.
Interesting that you guys mentioned that, people wanting to escape from the Earth. Like one of the interesting, I'll put a couple of pop culture references because I'm a massive anime fan, and one of probably the biggest hits of the last probably 3 or 4 years was called Terraform Mars from Japan, where you think in another 100 years or so that these cockroaches that, cockroaches pretty much survive nuclear wars and whatever, and they send them out to Mars to actually terraform it so people can actually, eventually move there. Now, they've sent 2 or 3 other missions within 10 years of each other, and they've literally all been slaughtered because these intelligent life cockroaches have actually learned how to evolve, and all these humans that were sent to eradicate them pretty much got wiped off the face of the earth. And then do we really want to go down that path? Because I guess there's another pop culture reference from about 6 or 7 years ago, Adon Zero, which literally was the Mars humans versus the Earth humans, which has going back to sci-fi back to the 60s and 70s, where we had some Martians, attacking Earth. I can't remember if there was a particular movie, but yeah, some people might be scared of that fact that if it advances that much in, say, 100 years or 50 years, that could potentially cause wars.
Yeah, well, it's inevitable. I think you would have 2 teams. Going back to our tribalism episode, Earth versus Mars, there'll be humans there, humans here. We do it here within our own neighborhoods and suburbs. So yeah, if there are humans on Mars, it'll be either they'll be better off than us or not as well off as us. So therefore there will be a cultural divide. They will potentially also start evolving differently. We are a reflection of the world that we live in. The level of gravity that we have here determines our bone density and our potential height and restrictions like that. If you go to a planet with a lighter gravity, well, effectively it changes our biology. We'll be transhuman in many ways. There'll be no single unifying human species. You have a Terran version and a Martian version, 100% guaranteed. There'll be racial tensions between that. particularly if one of them is richer than the other. Well, if you think about gene expression, that's epigenetics. That's basically the environment influencing how your body reacts to it. So whenever we have famines on Earth, it affects us epigenetically. If you deprive humans of calories, they start expressing certain genes because they've got to keep themselves alive. So throw that on a planetary sense, we don't know what the environment would be on Mars, so that would definitely trigger our body to respond like a fight or flight, like evolve, survive, or die. So yeah, who knows what the expressions could happen. For example, we could have some recessive things suddenly pop out, like we could have increase in lung capacity, or increase in or decrease in eye size, or changes of certain things we don't even understand because of the environmental change. I mean, we see it here on Earth. We have variations in what we call human because climatically some people live in deserts, some people live in cold climates, and that affects us clearly. The level of sun that we see, whether we burn to a crisp if we step out in the sun, or whether we've got enough melanin to keep us from dying of cancers. Put that on Mars, who knows? All bets are off. So it'd be fascinating if treated respectfully and people actually do honestly try and care for another human being, no matter where they live in the universe. It'd be great. It'd be fascinating because you'd be like, cool, our Martian cousins look like this now. Great, cool. That's the way they look, and then potentially it could be interbreeding, and it could be fascinating. Or alternatively, it'd be like, wow, yeah, we can exploit those guys, and it just goes to hell.
Yeah, see, there's always that aspect, right, where you're going to try and see how you can exploit that environment, all the people in there, to your needs, right? The whole nation, so that means you're up for going to Mars, Spira? Are you saying you're ready to go to Mars?
Well, that's a good question. A part of me has always wanted to go into space from a little kid. I have a family here on Earth. I don't want to leave them behind. I couldn't deal with that. They anchor me to my place, and I barely scratch the surface when it comes to exploring this planet here. So there's plenty to see here for me. But a part of me is always thinking, it'd be great. But yet, if I could come home safely, I could still see my family, happy days.
Yeah.
But if it's like, adios, it's like, forget about it. Give it to someone else who's willing to sacrifice that. That's not my.
To me, that's
the
the fundamental differences between different approaches, right? So, Richard Branson, it's about the tourism aspect, and you're going up, but you're coming back. Whereas
Elon Musk is all more about sort of cultivation.
Yeah, exactly.
He wants to set up a sort of a cultivation. Yeah, I reckon I'll go for Richard Branson option more than actually living in sort of Mars.
But the question is Richard Branson's option only good if Elon Musk goes there first?
Yeah.
So you traveled to Mars to actually see something.
Yeah, because he need to establish a actual space base there first, and then we can have this ongoing sort of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But one of them is tourism. The other one is like for commerce and exploration. So if you have the tourism, that's great. Happy days. Let's all go take a trip to space and come back and do that every couple of years and just enjoy the experience. But there's no infrastructure for that yet. The Virgin Galactic crashed a couple of years ago and killed the pilot and a whole bunch of stuff. So they haven't really done much in a while. So nothing's really happening in that sphere.
So do you reckon would that happen in our lifetime? I didn't think it would.
Yes, I think it will happen probably sooner than we expect, but it won't be in a form that we understand and that we expect. Like whenever you have a future, say the future will be like this. It never turns up. Where's my flying car? Where's my jetpack? I want those things. Do I? Maybe not. But where are they? They were promised. They're not here. We've got dodgy smartphones and bad Skype connections. That's the future. Hooray. So it's not going to be what we expect, but something will happen and it will fundamentally change. And just like the internet has changed the world for better or for worse, once we can all hop on some form of transport, up we go, that will change things.
Definitely.
Yeah, who here remembers the show Beyond 2000? Those of us born in Australia and, watching it. That's the kind of future they promised us.
They promised CDs. They've come and gone.
One more point, Andre?
Yeah, just a quick one. I think that what's driving maybe some people to be interested in going to Mars is this escaping from one's problems to an extent as well. Because I think if you go through history, people that seem to have everything, or maybe people that don't seem to have everything. We used to probably look at the stars thinking, wouldn't it be good to escape from the world? Because that might not be going right for them at the moment. And they think, what better way to escape from somewhere is to go up to Mars, without maybe seeing the help that they probably should. But
yeah, instead of looking up for heaven, but heaven is on Earth. Talking about mode of transport, I don't know if you guys seen the Hyperloop. Would you guys